Well my friends, I'm back again with the next episode of the RRC Restoration. In this episode, part 3, I'm going to be dealing with the underside of the car, and in order to do the job properly, I need what's in these boxes. Any guesses as to what it is? Well, it's unboxed. Now let's grab some tools and build the item or items in question.
What's that noise? Oh, George!
I wanted to build the rollover jig. Oh well. He's done a nice job and saved me some time. So, yes, in order to get access to all the parts of the car, I've bought a nice new rollover jig. I'm going to be mounting it to the ends of the chassis legs, front and rear. But in order to do that, I'm going to need to make some sturdy mounting brackets. And as luck would have it, I had the foresight to make these ones earlier. Well, the jig is now securely bolted into place. Now let's remove the axle stands and see if the CRX can still support its own weight. With the CRX now on its side, the full horror of what we face on the underside is now fully visible. Now before we go any further, I think it's time to wash off 33 years worth of road grime and grease. Well, that's one side done. Now let's flip it over and catch all the bits that I couldn't get to. So with the car now clean, I just need to give it a day till it all dries out, and then I can crack on with the next stage, which is removing all of the old underseal so that we can find any rust that's lurking underneath. These are just a few of the tools I'll be using to tackle this job. Look at that, one touch with the wire brush and I have rust holes appearing already. With the magic of editing, it's very easy to forget how long the restoration process actually takes. So I've left this small section in real time just to give you a little glimpse into how long actually stripping the underseal took. And let's not forget, this is the easy section of floor. Once I'm into the tight sections, things take a lot longer. If you want to skip this part, jump ahead by around 3 minutes. Well, that's day 1 of stripping underseal done and dusted. Now it's time to head home, get some rest and do it all again tomorrow. Well, that was a very tedious and messy few days, but now that all the underseal is gone, I can see exactly what I'm dealing with, and to me it looks like a couple of weeks of welding. So unfortunately, repair panels that are CRX specific are just about impossible to get. So what I've done is cheat. I've got these repair panels for an EF Civic, and with a bit of strategic cutting and panel beating, they will fit the CRX nicely. So with the outline of the repair panel marked, I now need to remove the rusty old section, beginning with drilling out the spot welds. With the outer skin removed, I can see that internally the sill is in very good condition, apart from the rear end where I'm going to have to fabricate a couple of small repair panels. And just like that, we have a couple of repair panels ready to install. With the panels welded in, I need to dress the welds a little, and then we can give it a coat of weld through zinc rich primer to protect the internal surfaces. Well, I guess now we know why the filler was there. I just wonder why they thought they needed a layer 3mm thick to cover a small rust hole. As I said earlier, these repair panels are for an EF Civic hatch, so the cutout for the rear light and the arch flare are slightly different from what's on the CRX, but luckily it's only the edges of my arch which have rusted out, so I'll be able to graft this panel in where the profiles match up perfectly. If it was rusted out any further up the arch, I'd need to reach out to someone who knows their way around an English wheel to roll this panel into the correct flare profile. Now before cutting the arch out, I need to replace this rotted out piece of structure so that I can line up the new arch skin properly. It looks a bit rough at the moment, but the shape is perfect, and once the welds are cleaned up, you'll never be able to tell it's a repair section. And as you can see, with that section replaced and cut to shape, the new arch sits on beautifully and will weld in as if it was a genuine Honda arch. Just like the sill, the inner arch is in great shape. It just needs a quick clean up and prime, and then we can fit the new arch. When working on thin sheet metal like this, it is vital when welding to move around the panel, otherwise the heat build up in one area will warp the panel, ruining your hopefully seamless patch panel. And now, to get the sill welded into place in the same way as the arch. To finish welding the sill in place, I need to replicate the factory spot welds. So first, I hammer and dolly the two skins together so that they are perfectly aligned. I then drilled a hole through the upper skin so that I can plug weld the two skins together, giving the appearance of a factory spot weld. Well, that's one side welded solid again, so let's dress the welds a bit and then move on to the other side. Uh-oh, my usual magic finger snap isn't working. Oh well, let's have a little montage instead. And there we have it, a week's worth of work condensed into a couple of minutes, and one CRX shell welded up and ready for the next stage of restoration. I'm now going to apply Hydrate 80 to the bare steel. This will kill any rust that's still lurking on the surface and provide an extremely tough rust-proof barrier. If the car had been acid dipped, then I could have used an epoxy primer for protection, but since dipping wasn't an option for me, the best route to go is the rust killing and barrier system. That's one coat done. Now to flip the car over and give it a second coat from the other side to make sure no areas are missed. Well, the underside is now protected and needs to dry for a few hours before applying seam sealer to all of the panel seams to stop water ingress. So let's do that now. As you can see, it's just a case of applying a bead of sealer to the seam and then smoothing out with a brush to replicate the factory finish. Now, as there are hundreds of seams to seal and each one is done the exact same way, I'm going to end the video here and we can pick up from here next time when all of this is done. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I tried my best to make it interesting to watch, but there's only so much I can do to make stripping under seal and welding exciting. But I do hope it gives you a bit of insight into how long these restorations actually take to do the work, film and edit. This episode is basically a month of work condensed into a half an hour. So anyway, enough of me rambling on. I hope you enjoyed it and will join me next time for the next stage. See you all again soon.